Good morning, buongiorno. This is Cees Willem from the Netherlands.
Okay, great. Okay, we will share you here in Taranto very soon. Okay, we can see you now. A tutti lascio parlare Cees, poi faccio io una breve sintesi in italiano di quello che dirà Cees. Oh, okay, so you have slides to present?
Yes, I have from the rainy Netherlands. It's my pleasure to share you some insights in Taranto, in Puglia.
Okay, yeah, you can go.
Okay, I'll try to share my screen. So can you see it?
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, perfect.
Well, buongiorno again, good morning. It's my pleasure to give you some inspiration this morning, as we call it, as I have called it, the Dutch magic. It's about acceleration of innovation in ports. And this morning, I would like to share you some insights we have from the Netherlands in the Port of Rotterdam, and also our collaboration and our friends in Taranto, where I've visited you like 2 years ago, a couple of times, to give you some insights of what's happening actually at this moment in global challenges, but also that it's time to act. And perhaps this presentation can give you some inspiration from the port ecosystems. So it's all about global challenges. So not only the challenges in Italy and in the Port of Taranto or other ports, but what we see, what I have seen, also from my background in the Port of Rotterdam, where I've been working for 25 years. These actually are most like the global challenges in the world. It's all about demand and supply, changing a lot, for instance, because of COVID and also because of a ship blocking the Suez Channel lately. It's all about predictable logistics in ports, the global congestion. At the moment, it's really a challenge in the big ports all over the world. Everybody's looking for empty containers. There's a congestion, ships waiting on the anchorage all over the world, actually. We have a huge challenge in our carbon footprint, the energy consumption we have, the need for energy transition. As I understand from the previous speaker, my Italian is a bit rusty, but I can clearly understand these are the challenges, how to make this energy transition. And I think with this transition also comes the urge for digitization. The ports logistic is still a bit conservative. I know, and somehow it's needed to make it like digitized with sensors and also traceable logistics. So actually, challenges all over the world. For a port ecosystem, we believe as PortXL, I'll come back to you later what we actually do, but we have a look on ecosystems. I think in the Netherlands we are good in building coalitions, building consortia, but it's crucial to be aware of your innovation ecosystem. And what we see is needed to have, like, of course, you need talent in your ecosystem, in your society. So youth education is crucial. You also need like an innovation maturity of your corporate companies. This is something that we are exploring in many ports, that there is a challenge in the leadership and there's a challenge in the maturity as the ports ecosystem. Startup activity. So in which way are young companies being promoted and stimulated as a spin-off of the universities, or to start your own business as an entrepreneur? That's really crucial. Of course, the other piece of the puzzle is about capital. There needs to be money available to really support innovation in the ecosystem. And really crucial, all these pieces of the puzzle need to be connected. So your ecosystem needs to have to some extent, a good connectedness, so the connectivity in your ecosystem. That's crucial. So the experience in the Port of Rotterdam, we have that if you look towards innovation, that usually research and development comes within the company yourself. You want to optimize the core products you have, you want to grow, and maybe you want to make a next step if you are a scale-up or you are an expanding company, to look to the market, to the adjacent atmosphere around you. And what we see nowadays, the next steps is more like transformational. So how can you change the ecosystem that you are a part of? And please be aware that ports, the Port of Taranto, but any port in the world, have a crucial role in the ecosystem. So this transformational innovation to create new markets. I think this can also be a link to the circular theme of your forum these 2 days in Taranto. So why do we think as an accelerator, it's important to have a good ecosystem? I will explain you shortly what we do as an accelerator. We are stimulating startups together with the partners to create new products. It's business development, it's new innovation, it's speeding up innovation, which normally takes a long time, but it's crucial to have a multi-sided platform, as we mentioned it. I will come back to that later. But at this moment, everybody agrees there is a need for transformation, there is a need for change. And so what's happening in Europe, of course, you're very much aware of the former speakers as well, but what we see, there is a European ambition to reduce the carbon footprint, to reduce emissions by 55% in the year 2030. The program and the directive is called Fit for 55. Secondly, the European Commission is focusing a lot on blue economy, and what is mentioned there, and why we are also participating in this trend as PortXL, is that the ports are being seen as innovation hubs, also to stimulate the blue economy. And for instance, the Atlantic Strategy Group in Europe is now creating a network of accelerators from European member states all around the Atlantic. And we are also, as PortXL, part of that ecosystem to stimulate all those ports to be the innovation hubs for blue, not only blue economy, but all kinds of developments there. So there's a crucial role for companies, for startups, but also for accelerators, programs that help stimulate and bring new energy and bring new magic, as we mentioned it. It's really crucial. And lastly, but very importantly, it's really crucial that also investors, VCs, subsidies from Europe, any kind of budget needs to be available to stimulate the fast growth of innovation. So what is this Dutch magic, we call it, from PortXL? Well, actually, in the core, what we do, we try to bring a spark, we bring energy from the startups and the scale-ups, the small companies who are, brushing from energy. They want to change the world. They are so convinced of their solution, and they can really speed up innovation. And this is what we believe in, and we are stimulating it in all kinds of programs, in 3 months programs, actually. And perhaps it's good to know that this acceleration approach we have is not just about having fun and to be inspired with young startups and to start new businesses, but it's actually having a business drive. It's about making money. Perhaps this is also typically Dutch, typically Rotterdam. We want to make it happen, but also port operations, running a business, being an entrepreneur should have a very successful and healthy business drive. So what do we do? What is PortXL? To give you some insights, PortXL is an accelerator. We were the first world port accelerator. In medical in medical health, in pharmacy, in automotive, aviation, all of those domains have their acceleration magic, I would say. In ports, it did not exist yet. So like 6 years ago, we started a foundation in Rotterdam. We called it PortXL, Port Accelerator. And it's our ambition to innovate the ports to help them for their sustainable growth. So what we actually do is that on a yearly basis, we check globally, so around the world, what kind of solutions are there in the market. So we have a very important database. That's our golden assets, you can imagine. We're having a lot of interviews. We try to talk, really understand their solution and try if we can match it to the challenges that are in the ports. What we try to do is in a yearly program to select 15 companies. They come in a program, and it's our objective, it's their objective to have contracts, pilot contracts. So it's about business drive, as I mentioned you. Some numbers. So what have we done in the last 6 years? We are very proud of this, on an energetic team. We had a lot of visitors in our shakedown events. So it's also about inspiration, but it's also mainly about contracts and the programs that we have been supporting around the world. And to give you an impression of what's happening in the world for PortXL, we have had programs in Antwerp, in Belgium, in Rotterdam, of course, and in Singapore. I've been in Italy, and we have been exploring these locations already. So we are in a good contact at this moment in COVID times in Canada, in Quebec. We have been doing some work completely online in New Zealand, in Auckland. And there is some serious interest from other ports. But honestly, this is changing, of course, also because of Corona. But the ports and all these nations are very much connected. It's a global world where acceleration and challenges actually are very much the same. So talking about this PortXL magic, of the Dutch magic, we have been in Taranto, as I told you, and we have had some good experience. I've put some pictures in the slides to give you an impression. Perhaps you might recognize some of the people. Also, Annie was present and others were present, as I remember. It was a very nice and very warm experience to be in Taranto. We have done some innovation awareness. There were people from all different parts of the ecosystem were present. Even the municipality, the universities, Bari, the Navy was present. And we had a lot of fun, but also having a good insight in possible business. And even on those sessions, new business was generated. We also were in other stages, and I just jumped to some pictures in a very hot warehouse where it was like, I think, 40 degrees centigrade, where we were really making these first steps in new contracts. And can you imagine, these were only workshop sessions that we were able together to lay the first foundations of contracts. And we were very proud on this. And as we mentioned, on the end of that session, there was building bricks. So the building bricks, because this is what we also do, we bring inspiration. So all those parties who had a first contact with each other, they were going home with a building brick from PortXL. And hopefully this, could build the foundation of innovation and acceleration hub in Taranto. So we look back to very warm and good sessions in Taranto with some of the PortXL magic. So to summarize and to give you some impression, it's not just advertisement for us, but how it works with an accelerator. This acceleration from PortXL has a very unique sector focus. This is rather unique to accelerate all the challenges, all the companies in a kind of independent foundation. This is, I think, very unique. You are in a trusted program where there's a lot of energy and a very clear focus to speed up this innovation, because we are running out of time. It needs to be going fast. It's a business-to-business focus. So if you're there, you want to have your ROI, your return on investment. So the time and the money you're investing, you want to at least, perhaps try to multiply it. So there's a good business focus in the program. Again, focus on collaboration instead of just investment. So we are really bringing an actual matchmaking. People, difficult perhaps to find each other from the startup community to the corporate community. There's different language, different speed. We are bringing them together. It's very proactive in also bringing universities, municipalities, government together with this startups, scale-ups. Yeah, focused on this market again. And coming towards the end of my presentation, what's good to know that we also try to evaluate to see if your ecosystem has a certain level of maturity. And this is something that we have been exploring ourselves. So when PortXL is invited in other ports, the first questions that we try to evaluate is this port innovation ecosystem maturity model. So in which way of the puzzle I showed you in the previous page, in which stage are you as a community? So this is very crucial to be aware of, and also give you an impression how you can start an acceleration and be within the ports as being the hub for this innovation. So coming closely towards the end of my presentation, my advice for you would be to invest in a strong network. It's about collaboration in the region, collaboration in Europe, collaborating together. And the more startups that are present in Puglia or anywhere in Italy, the more partners you are able to bring together. So shipping companies, authorities, digital parties, energy suppliers, it's really all part of the puzzle. If they are in place, then an accelerator can really speed up that acceleration and help solving the challenges that is on the agenda. So, yeah, to summarize, we think PortXL can bring magic, but you can bring magic yourselves as well. If you are aware of the unique situation that ports have, and startups, small companies, and not to forget young talent. So people living in Taranto or in Puglia and are maybe doubting, should I work in the port? Why should I work in the port? There's a huge opportunity there to speed up innovation. And I think for perhaps some conservative corporate companies or elder senior management, it would be good to be inspired by those startups. And actually, this is what, well, summarize my presentation, that acceleration of innovation is possible in ports.
Okay, great,
That
Chef. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a very quick question.
Sure.
Can you talk probably about, did you actually select a startup that is working with the port, that there is a specific project, or probably something you cannot talk about at the moment?
Well, of course, there's a lot of startups working with ports. What I remember from one of the pages, perhaps I can stop sharing my screen.
But specifically in Taranto?
Yes.
Okay.
What I remember from one of the startups we took, they are a company from Israel, and they are actually very globally active. They are working on global on tidal energy, wave energy.
Okay.
The company is called Ecowave Power. And I think I saw my previous respected friend, Mr. Prete from Port of Taranto. They have been working together to explore in the breaking waters of Taranto how this startup can help using the energy from the waves, of the region. Yes.
Okay, very good. So thank you again, Chas.